They say the jungle remembers everything. Every step, every breath, every soul it swallows. I came to Colombia looking for a lost city, buried deep in the Sierra Nevada mountains, hidden beneath a sea of green so thick it could swallow the sun itself. What I found was something far older, far darker, and still very much alive. The locals call it Ciudad Perdida, the lost city. But nothing is ever truly lost. Some things are just waiting to be found, waiting to reclaim what was taken. And as I stood at the edge of that jungle, staring into the abyss of twisted vines and shadows, I realized something that would haunt me for the rest of my life. The jungle doesn't just hide secrets. It devours them. And anyone foolish enough to come looking. My name doesn't matter. What matters is the story I'm about to tell you. A story of stone and silence. Of a civilization erased. Of a place that refuses to die. This is the story of the jungle that devours, and the lost city that still breathes. Santa Marta. A coastal city in northern Colombia, where the Caribbean Sea meets the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. The air here is thick, heavy with salt and stories. Stories of conquistadors and gold. Of blood spilled in the name of empire. Of a people who vanished into the mountains rather than surrender. I arrived on a Tuesday. The kind of day where the sky is too bright, the sun too harsh, and the heat clings to your skin like a warning. I checked into a small hostel near the waterfront, the kind of place where travelers come to get drunk and forget. But I wasn't here to forget. I was here to remember. To find what everyone else had lost. The legend of Ciudad Perdida had haunted me for years. An ancient city, built by the Tairona people over 1,000 years ago, hidden deep in the jungle, untouched by time. Or so they said. The truth I would learn was far more complicated. The Taironas didn't just disappear. They were hunted, slaughtered, driven into the mountains by Spanish conquistadors who wanted their gold and their land. And those who survived? They became ghosts. Echoes of a civilization that refused to be forgotten. I spent my first night in Santa Marta asking questions. The bartender at a beachfront cafe told me about the trek. 5 days, 4 nights, through some of the most unforgiving terrain in South America. He warned me about the heat, the humidity, the insects, but there was something else in his eyes. Something he didn't say. A kind of knowing. As if he'd seen too many people walk into that jungle and come back changed. Or not come back at all. If you've ever felt that pull, that obsession, that need to chase something you can't explain, type the word obsession below. Because that's what brought me here. Not curiosity. Not adventure. Obsession. The kind that doesn't let you sleep. The kind that whispers in the dark, telling you that somewhere out there the truth is waiting. And if you're reading this, if you're still here, then maybe you understand. Maybe you feel it too. And if this story speaks to you, consider subscribing. Because the journey I'm about to take you on only gets deeper from here. Day 1. The jungle swallowed me whole. We left at dawn from a small village called Machete Paleo. A handful of wooden huts, chickens scratching in the dirt, and a silence so complete it felt like the world had stopped breathing. Our guide was a man named Javier. Mid-40s, weathered skin, eyes that had seen too much. He didn't smile. Didn't talk unless he had to. Just shouldered his pack and started walking. The heat hit me like a fist. Within minutes, my shirt was soaked through, my lungs burning with every breath. The trail was narrow, barely visible, carved through vegetation so thick it felt like walking through a living wall. Vines hung from trees like nooses. Roots twisted across the path, waiting to trip the unwary. And the sounds? God, the sounds. Birds shrieking. Insects buzzing. Something moving in the undergrowth that I couldn't see but could feel watching. Javier didn't slow down. Didn't look back. Just kept moving, machete in hand, cutting through branches that dared to block our path. I followed, step by step, sweat pouring down my face, my pack digging into my shoulders. And with every step I felt the jungle closing in. Not just physically, but something else. Something deeper. As if the forest itself was alive. Where? Studying me. We crossed the first river around midday. The Buritaca. Cold water, fast current, stones slick with algae. I slipped twice, nearly lost my balance, caught myself at the last second. Javier didn't offer help. Just watched. Waiting to see if I'd make it. Testing me. The jungle was testing me too. By the time we reached the first camp, I was exhausted. Muscles screaming. Feet blistered. But I couldn't sleep. Not yet. Because as I sat there, staring into the fire, listening to the jungle breathe around me, I realized something. The jungle wasn't just watching. It was remembering. Remembering every person who had walked this path before me. Every conquistador. Every treasure hunter. Every fool like me chasing ghosts. And somewhere deep in that green darkness, the lost city was waiting. Day 2. Deeper. The trail grew steeper, narrower, the jungle thicker. We climbed through mud and roots, our boots sinking with every step. The humidity was suffocating, the kind that makes your lungs feel like they're filled with water. Javier moved like a shadow, silent and sure. I stumbled behind, trying to keep up, trying not to think about how far we'd come, how far we still had to go. Around noon we reached the first terraces. Stone platforms carved into the mountainside, covered in moss and vines. Javier stopped, pointed with his machete. Tairona, he said. One word. No explanation. He didn't need to explain. I could feel it. The weight of history. The presence of something ancient. The Taironas built this. Over 1,000 years ago, they carved these mountains, shaped the land, created a civilization that stretched from the coast to the peaks of the Sierra Nevada. They were farmers, artists, warriors. They built roads, irrigation systems, entire cities from stone and earth. And then the Spanish came. Hungry for gold. Hungry for blood. And the Taironas fought. For over 100 years they resisted. But resistance has a price. By 1600 their civilization was shattered. Their cities abandoned. Their people scattered into the mountains, becoming the ancestors of the Kogi, the Arhuaco, the Waiwa. The survivors. But the cities remained. Hidden. Forgotten. Swallowed by the jungle. We made camp that night near a stream. The sound of water rushing over stones. The chirp of frogs. The distant howl of something I couldn't name. I sat by the fire, trying to eat, trying to ignore the ache in my legs, the weight in my chest. Javier sat across from me, sharpening his machete, his face unreadable. You feel it, don't you? He said finally. His voice low. Almost a whisper. I looked at him. Feel what? The jungle. He didn't look up. Just kept sharpening. It knows you're here. I didn't ask what he meant. Because I already knew. If this story has gripped you so far, consider subscribing. The journey only gets deeper from here. And what came next would test everything I thought I knew about the world, about history, about what it means to be truly lost. Day 3. The city revealed itself. We climbed 1,200 stone steps. Worn smooth by centuries of feet. Steep. Slippery. Each step a battle. My lungs burned. My legs trembled. But I kept climbing. Because I could feel it now. The pull. The weight. The presence of something vast and ancient waiting at the top. And then, finally, I saw it. Ciudad Perdida. The lost city. Tairona, as the Taironas called it. 169 terraces, carved into the mountainside, stretching up through the jungle like a stairway to the heavens. Stone walls. Circular platforms. Pathways that disappeared into the green. A city built not for conquest, but for balance. For harmony with the land. For something we've forgotten how to understand. I stood there at the edge of the first terrace and felt the world shift. This wasn't just a ruin. This was a memory. A living, breathing memory of a people who refused to be erased. The jungle had swallowed it, yes. Covered it in vines and moss, hidden it from the world. But it hadn't destroyed it. It had preserved it. Protected it. Kept it safe from people like me. Javier gestured toward the central terrace. The highest point. Where the caciques, the chiefs, once stood. Where ceremonies were held. Where the Taironas connected with their gods, with the earth, with the cosmos. I climbed slowly, reverently, feeling the weight of every stone beneath my feet. And when I reached the top, I looked out over the terraces, over the jungle stretching endlessly in every direction, and I understood. The city wasn't lost. It was hidden. Intentionally. Because some places aren't meant to be found. Some places are meant to remain secret. Sacred. Beyond the reach of those who would exploit them. I spent hours walking the terraces, tracing my fingers over ancient stones, imagining the lives that once filled this place. Children playing. Women weaving. Men carving stone. The smell of cooking fires. The sound of laughter. All of it gone now. Swallowed by time. Swallowed by the jungle. But still here. Still present. Still watching. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the terraces, I felt something shift. A presence. Not threatening. But aware. As if the city itself was acknowledging me. Accepting me. Or warning me. I couldn't tell which. Javier appeared beside me, silent as always. He looked out over the jungle, his face unreadable. You see it now, he said. Not a question. A statement. See what? Why they left. He turned to me, his eyes dark. The Taironas didn't abandon this place because the Spanish came. They abandoned it because they knew. They knew what would happen if people like us found it. if the world found it. So they left, and they let the jungle take it back. Because the jungle remembers, the jungle protects, and the jungle devours. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't, because I could feel it now. The city, the jungle, the past pressing against the present. And I realized something that would haunt me forever. I wasn't discovering this place. It was discovering me, studying me, judging me, deciding whether I was worthy, or whether I should be devoured like all the others who came before. Day 4. The descent. Leaving was harder than arriving. Not physically, but spiritually, as if something inside me was being torn away with every step. The jungle felt different now. Heavier, more present. Javier moved quickly as if eager to leave, but I kept looking back. Kept turning, hoping to catch one last glimpse of the terraces through the trees. But the jungle had already reclaimed them, already swallowed them whole. We made good time. By late afternoon we were back at the first camp. By evening we'd crossed the Buritaca again. And by nightfall we were back in Machete Paleo. Back to the world. But I wasn't the same. Something had changed. Something inside me had shifted. As if part of me was still back there, standing on those ancient stones, staring into the green abyss. Javier said goodbye with a nod. No words. No handshake. Just a look. A knowing. As if he'd seen this before. Seen people walk into that jungle and come back hollow. Empty. Haunted. I returned to Santa Marta. Checked back into the same hostel. Sat at the same bar. Stared at the same ocean. But nothing felt real. The city. The noise. The people. All of it felt like a dream. A distraction. A lie. The only thing that felt real was the jungle. The city. The presence I'd felt on those terraces. I tried to explain it to the bartender. The same one who'd warned me before. He listened. Nodded. And then he said something I'll never forget. The jungle takes something from everyone who goes there. Something you don't even know you have until it's gone. And it gives you something too. Something you didn't ask for. A memory. A weight. The truth. And you carry it for the rest of your life. He was right. I've carried it ever since. The memory of those stones. That silence. That presence. And no matter how far I travel, no matter where I go, I can still feel it. The jungle. Watching. Waiting. Remembering. So what do you think? Would you take that journey knowing what I know now? Would you walk into the jungle that devours, searching for a city that doesn't want to be found? Share your thoughts below. And if this story moved you, if it made you feel something, subscribe to join me on the next one. Because there are more places like this. More secrets. More truths. More jungles waiting to swallow the unwary. The lost city of Colombia isn't just a place. It's a lesson. A reminder. That some things are meant to remain hidden. That the past isn't something we discover. It's something that discovers us. And that the jungle, in all its darkness and beauty, will always remember. Will always protect. Will always devour. Until then, stay curious. Stay brave. And never stop seeking the truth. Even if the truth consumes you.